Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Paranormal, the new normal. I'm your host, Jeremy, as always, trying to make this world seem a little more normal. Does it ever really happen? Who the hell am I kidding at this point? But we still persist and try. And as always, I bring a guest to help me on this epic quest. And my guest tonight, I am pleased to announce, is Heather Hornung, energy coach, energy healer, human design specialist, and so much more, and a podcast host. You know how much I love podcast hosts, guys. So come on, let's give her a big welcome. Welcome, Heather. Thank you for joining.
Thank you for having me, Jeremy. I'm excited to be here.
Oh, I'm excited to have you. So let me start this off the way I start off every interview. What got you down this road of spirituality that you are now part of?
Oof, that's a good question. It's kind of weird because I grew up in a very conservative, almost cultish kind of religion. I was an evangelical Christian. And so
Ooh.
growing up in that lifestyle, going to church probably about 3 times a week on average, very sheltered life. My whole life was like rotated around the church, like where we're going next, what we're doing, who we're meeting with. That was my life. So then I became pregnant as a teenager. And you can imagine, didn't really fit into that lifestyle. So at that point, I began to question, like, oh, well, if I'm already condemned at the age of 18, like, I have to start to look for other options because clearly I can't continue down this path and feel any sort of like acceptance. You know, as humans, this herd mentality, we want to be accepted. Like it's part of our survival mechanism. So it had the effect of opening up my mind to other things. Like what else is there? So further down the line, I started reading books, meeting other people. You know, I go to college. My mind opens and there's a whole different world out there. And I start to learn like there's other belief systems. So that was actually the beginning of my spiritual journey of learning that there's more to life than the evangelical Christian church.
Well, all I can say is 3 days a week church. Shoot me now. I couldn't do it. I would be hating my life for 18 years. I really would. I hated going once a week. I don't want to go 3 times a week.
Yeah.
That
Brainwashing
sounds
children.
seriously, that is brainwashing, and all religions are cults in a way. So you're right on the cue there. But yeah, teenage pregnancy in a heavy religious family basically just writes itself for my show as always. It seems like 99% of my show's episodes start off with, well, I was brought up religious, and then this happened. And it seems like it's an ongoing theme. It's an ongoing theme, and as it should be. I mean, I love the fact that my show is basically a proof point for you can break out of religion and still thrive. I love that that's the theme of my show. Basically, always it's I can support that. I can get behind that.
Yeah. Thank you.
Hell,
Yeah.
if I was running for president, that'd be my freaking campaign. But
Yeah, there's even a term coined for it, religious trauma.
no, there's a lot of that in this world. That's for damn sure.
Yeah.
But just please tell me it wasn't like the pastor or something that knocked you up.
Oh, no.
Okay. All right, I swear. I mean, my other podcast is already compared to Howard Stern. I'm like, this podcast does not need to get compared to Jerry Springer, please. That's all I ask.
We're not going Jerry Springer. No, it was a fellow high school classmate.
So the classic Romeo and Juliet and type tale, in a way. But Put down the chair. Put down the chair, people. We said it's not that type of show. God damn. But so you started learning that religion doesn't have to hold you back, basically. What was the next step? How did you get on the path of wanting to work with energy?
Yeah, so we're gonna go now maybe like 20 years down the road. And I ended up marrying the guy who I had this baby with. You know, we go on to have 2 more kids. And then, you know, as one does, the marriage falls apart.
Mm-hmm.
And this led me to like this kind of midlife crisis where I was like, okay, clearly whatever I've been doing is not working. Trying to like live this life where I'm doing what I think is right. And I end up, you know, getting cheated on and like just my whole life falling apart. And so then I go to this yoga retreat and somebody there is talking about energy healing. And I was like, oh, that sounds amazing. I've never heard of that. So I go home, I check it out for myself. I start seeing a local energy healer. And for the next year, I have a standing appointment with her where every week I am going to meet with her. And I can't even like explain the experience that I had other than like it lifted my spirit. I felt this change in my own energy from being this completely depressed and sad, shallow to like having a sense of hope again. And I was like, I don't know what this magic is, but I need more of it. So that set me down this whole path of like learning how to become an energy healer. Coincidentally, around the same time, I was introduced to human design at another retreat, currently in the retreat time of life, my retreat era. And and somebody there, yeah, asked me for my birth information. I gave it and they pulled up my chart and I was just like blown away, completely fascinated. And if you've ever seen a human design chart, it's like you're in Chinese. It's completely confusing, but it was enough to captivate me. So I bought the books, I studied it. And then after a few years of that, I got a professional reading done and I was instantly like, this is it. This is what I'm doing. So the rest is history. I just was like so fascinated by my experiences with these esoteric systems and philosophies that I went all in.
Yeah, I mean, well, see, this is also an amazing common pattern I see where people go through a tragic life event and they, rather than let it crumble them, let it take them down, they just turn around and basically become their best selves out of it, which in my mind, it tells me it's kind of fate, like it's meant to happen like this. It's no matter how horrible it may be, we can't change certain things, and we usually come through them for the better, hopefully.
Yeah.
And that's, I mean, I don't know. That's my positive spin on it. I mean, you're living proof of it, though. So obviously, it's not just a spin; it's just the way it works sometimes. And I mean, we'll probably get into fate a little bit later. It tends to be a topic I get into in every show I do. But yeah, retreats, something I always wanted to do, and I never get the chance to do any of these retreats I see. And being in the field I'm in, and having a lot of 200 previous guests, I am made privy about a lot of retreats that happen, and just never have the funds, never have the time, never have the PTO to go do these things. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just one of those things where it's like I never can do these things, and they always sound magical. They sound like everybody's always like, "Oh, this retreat changed my life," and I'm like, "Go."
Yeah. Are you kidding me? You've never been on one.
No, I have a family to provide for, and unfortunately, there's no time in the world to
Yeah.
get away like that, especially Well, especially the fact that in 2 months I'll have another kid to take care of. So,
Oh my gosh,
yeah.
congratulations. / I'm sorry.
No, there's nah. The congratulations, thank you. There's no I'm sorry. It was it was planned to be unplanned. But
I had
as I
to
like to put it.
myself.
But it's we're looking forward to it. It's gonna be amazing. But
Yeah, of course. What a blessing.
it is. It really is. It kind of was a miraculous thing. But so now that you're into all this, well, actually, I haven't talked about life design in this show in a while. So let's start there because I haven't had that conversation in a long time. No one's come on that does that recently. I can't. Or I'm sorry, human design, I should say. It's not life design, but
Close enough.
I always like to ask this question with it because no one really knows how to. Everybody defines it differently. So
Okay.
what? How do you define human design? Like every person who does it always has a different answer for this, and I love it.
This is great. Okay, so I've been working really hard to find a way to articulate it in the most simplified way that other people can understand and like grasp. So the way I've started to describe it is it's a combination of astrology and the chakra system. So you take your
Makes
birth
sense.
information, like you do in astrology, your date, time, location of where you were born. And with that information, you plug it into a calculator. And with that calculator, it shows you how your energy system works. And of course, it's a bit more complex than that, but people are beginning to understand what the chakra system is. They're hearing that more and more. And if you're not familiar, it's your energy system. It's made up of these different energy centers within your body. And it's your interface between you and the world around you. So it's basically how your intuition is speaking to you through the vibrational qualities of your environment. So that's how I like to describe it. But does that make sense?
It does. I mean, obviously, I've had a. Well, okay. I know I've had an astrology reading done in the show live,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure I've had a human design one done as well in the show live, but I am not 100% sure on that. They might send it to me after. I forget. It's been a while, but
Yeah.
I will say, I mean, yeah, it makes sense to me perfectly because I know all about chakras. I was a student of Reiki for a good year, so
Awesome. Okay.
I yeah. So chakras are very important, actually. I mean, I think they're very important, and the fact that you can literally feel them when someone's working on them is creepy in a way, but awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. It's that intangible part of us. So we've got like this physical body that we are used to experiencing the world with through our five senses, but this intangible part of us that we can't really see, we can't prove it's there, but through the vibrational sensations, that we feel. And
Exactly.
it's nothing that you can necessarily prove. So it kind of lies in the realm of faith and
Well, it lies in the realm of faith to some degree, but anybody who doesn't believe that your chakra system is real, go get a Reiki session or two done, and I'm
right.
telling you that I used to be a non-believer. But feeling is believing. In this situation, it's not seeing; it's feeling is believing. Because oh my God,
Yeah.
it'll make you cry. It'll make you happy. It'll make you feel like you're a freaking weightless feathered bird out there flying around. Because it literally lifts you off the ground. It'll get rid of your worst depressions. It's amazing. It truly is amazing to have some Reiki done on you and just feel that energy leaving your body, all that negative energy just getting pulled out of you. Like it's like a huge, like there's a huge vacuum in front of you for your soul. Like it's, oof.
Yeah. Yeah, that's a wonderful way to describe it. Like a vacuum cleaner for your soul. I love that. Yeah, and that was actually my first experience with energy was Reiki, was receiving those sessions on a weekly basis. And it helped to pull me out of this like deep depression.
I've had it done, so I can easily imagine what it's like. And I mean, there's no other way. I mean, folks, there's no other way to say it. You have to have it done to really understand what it's like. But it's just life changing. It's a life changing thing, and you realize that you're never going to see life the same again because you know something else is possible that you didn't think was possible beforehand. So
Yeah.
it's
To know that like this whole energy system that you have surrounding your body, like it holds all of these ideas, these like thoughts, these beliefs, these projections, these attitudes. That's where all of this like lives within you. And to like have these distortions cleared and these blocks removed gives you this ability to experience life in a completely different way.
it does. I mean, it's eye opening. It's eye opening. I can go on all day talking about how good Reiki is, folks. So I need to move on a little bit here. But and it's funny because the way you described it with astrology and chakras together. I mean, it basically you can almost define it as the universe's plan for us. That's basically what it is.
Yeah.
I mean, all my listeners know I don't believe in any big G God. I don't believe in a creator, basically, unless it's an extraterrestrial, then I kind of believe it. But Matrix, we're living in a Matrix, but an alien Matrix, I'll say that much. But yeah, I mean, so the universe basically is a sentient being in my mind, and it has plans for us. Yes, we have free will because that's the way it happened. But almost the way we're designed. I don't like to say that, but the way it happened is we have free will, but we still have fate. We still have things that are going to happen, life events we can't push past, life events we can't change around. Is that the kind of the same way you feel, or?
Yeah, so I just read this super interesting book, maybe you've read it too, called The Kabbalion. And it's the 7 universal laws, the Hermetic principles that have been carried on from like time immemorial. And it's the laws of nature that are described in it. It's like cause and effect and polarization the law of polarity. And, I can't remember them all off the top of my head, but it's talking about the universe very much the way you just described it, as like we are the dream of some infinite creator, some infinite being, and we live within this dream, but this dream is actually our reality. And so we have to live according to these laws, or we'll very much be in trouble.
And actually, I never heard that book even. But this is just that's just kind of a theory my mind has come up with over all the guests I've talked to about that believe in different. They all have all the different beliefs. I kind of put into one. I mean, I look for the common denominators and kind of take it from there. And I love that you see. I was just talking about this on my music show on Monday night. I was talking about Prince, and I described the song Seven as being like the. It's literally a song about the metaphysical spiritual world we live in because 7 is the magic number, basically. And see, I wasn't wrong, and it works. Like it's just the way it works. There's 7 makes sense. There's 7 theories, 7 laws. That makes fucking perfect sense.
Yeah, 100%.
And it just shows once again that Prince was a genius because all 7 of them will watch them fall.
Oh,
I mean, they're not going to fall. I mean, but we'll watch them fall when they do. That's for damn sure. But yeah, I mean, it's funny because I always describe fate with the movie Hercules, the Disney movie Hercules, because there's the golden threads you can't cut, and that's always my theory is that those exist. All the other threads, yeah, you can break them, you can snap them, you can cut them, whatever you want to do to them. There's golden ones you can't cut. Some things are meant to happen: divorces, death, birth. Things are meant to happen, and we can't change that always. And you wouldn't want to. you at the end of the day, at the end of your life, you're going to be happy that certain things didn't change because it set you up for who you're meant to be.
Yeah.
And that's my theory, at least. That's my theory on life. But
Yeah, and I totally agree. And I feel like human design, it shows you the blueprint for who you are meant to be. And you were born at a very specific moment in time in order to be imprinted with the qualities of these specific planets and given these specific traits in order to live out a specific role that you were meant to play in the history of cosmology, if that makes sense. Like,
it
we're
does.
all players on this huge stage, and we have a role that we're here to live out, and some of it is beyond, most of it is beyond our control. Literally, the only things we can control are the choices that we make are around our attitudes, and how we choose to see life and the actions that we take. Everything else is beyond us.
Exactly. I mean, we are based. We rare. Okay, I'm not gonna say we can't, but we rarely can proact to these things in life. We have to react, and that's what you're right. It's all about how you react to things that happen in your life. Someone who's a negative Nancy, and everything that happens in their life, they immediately look to blame somebody, themselves, the world, God, the government. Take your pick. Those people are never going to be the best selves because they can't master what they're trying to. They can't master their own life, let alone anything around them. It's the people like what I try to be, who always try to think of the positive, who always try to say there's going to be a way out. There's going to be something better in a few days. Like, you just got to tell yourself, this too shall pass. As much as I hate corny sentiments like that, it's true. It's so fucking true.
Yeah.
Everything will pass eventually. You just got to get through it. You gotta walk through the fire to get to the beach. I mean, and that's a metaphor for sand because I hate sand. It's everywhere. It gets everywhere. But pulling a little Anakin Skywalker there for all you nerds like me. But I mean, and this is why people who live to please other people have problems. This is why people who don't look out for themselves have problems as well. I mean, because you have to be able to react to things in your own life, not other people's lives. Don't be the ride along friend that's always there for someone else when you can't be there for yourself. That's just not going to serve you well. I mean, and I believe on your podcast you cover that topic a lot.
Yeah, actually, I was like, man, you're talking about people pleasers. And that is definitely something that is a huge topic because I, before, really struggled with that. That was like the major breaking point in my life, was learning how to take my power back, because I was that person who was always overgiving, overextending, and thinking like, oh, well, this is the way you're supposed to be. This is how, growing up in the church, I was taught that acronym, JOY, Jesus, others, you. You come last. And like had that cemented in my head of, this is how you be a good person. This is how you're supposed to be. But when you come last, then your life fucking sucks because you're exhausted all the time. There's nothing ever left for you. And then you live this resentful, sad existence where you're just like, when is it going to be my turn? And I finally had to learn the hard way. It's going to be my turn when I say it's my turn, when I decide it's my turn, when I give myself permission to take a turn. And that was a really hard lesson to learn. And the unfortunate reality is that nobody is going to give you permission until you give yourself permission. Like, nobody else is ever going to be like, yeah, I see you giving yourself over and sacrificing all your time and energy. Let me go ahead and take care of you. No, nobody's ever going to say that. And I think that's part of like our journey as as humans living through this existence is learning how to advocate for ourselves, learning how to be our own best ally, learning how to love ourselves in the way that we want to experience love, and then learning that from that place of inner security, of learning how to meet our own needs, then we give to others from that overflow. And that's where we find fulfillment.
Yeah. See, that's more of that cult brainwashing right there. God, others, and yourself. Fuck that. No. You and see, I am one of those people who has been loving themselves. Well, in many ways, for a long time, and it's just one of those things. Like I learned at a young age, nobody else matters before me. I need to. I'm not saying go out there and be a narcissist. I'm not saying go out there and be selfish. If you can help others, help others. But nah, if it's gonna harm you, that's what a lot of people don't get. And see, I almost could tell that's kind of the person you were at a younger age because I got that vibe. And I'm like, I guarantee she would give the shirt off her back to somebody if they needed it 20 years ago. And that's, I mean, you could tell because those people usually are the nicest people in the freaking world, and they get taken advantage of because of that fact.
Oh,
but
yeah.
And I lived through experience with that, so I learned a long time ago, love yourself first. I'm not going to give you the shirt off my back if it's going to leave me shirtless and I got no other shirt to put on. Like, no. It's, especially as a fat kid, that wasn't going to happen. But that was not going to happen. But that's the way it should be. It should be about if we can thrive, and we are thriving, then yes, let's take care of others. And I mean, God, there's a God who can take care of him fucking self. So you're good. But you don't need my money. You don't need my time. But other people may, and if I can help them, I will. I help people. I help people all the time. I get them on my podcast and give them publicity. I have no problem with that. That's a little bit of my time. It doesn't cost me anything really. So, well, besides sleep sometimes, but we live. we live. But you gotta look after yourself first, and that's the biggest thing people don't get in this world. I see it every day. That worker at the employee at the job who, oh, can you stay late and do this report? And you could ask them every day, and they're going to say yes because they want to please you. No, they should say no. Fuck you. I got plans. I'm going home. But okay, well, maybe say a little nicer, and that's going to get fired. But still, that's the attitude you should have. I mean, the ones who give it all to their significant other because they don't think they deserve anything themselves. Like, no.
Yeah.
Put yourself first.
And then you
compromise.
end up in these like parasitic relationships with a narcissist, which it tends to be like how these things work out. The overgiver ends up with the person who's the taker. And
because the good people are not going to stick around, and they're starting to get sick of that behavior, and they're eventually going to leave because they don't want to take advantage.
Yeah.
Or they're going to try to change the person to be who they should be, which sometimes if that works out, that's the best relationship you can have right there. But the ones who can take advantage of it are going to latch on like a fucking blood-sucking vampire and not let go because they know they can control you. They know that you will do what they tell you to do. That you will do what they ask you to do without question. Because even if it's eating you apart on the inside and killing you, you will still do it because it's just. I've dated women in my life that are like that in my past, and I got them after they were abused by the narcissist, and they finally broke free. And trying to heal that damage is it's a full-time job. It's a full-time job. I'm not gonna lie, it's a full-time fucking job. You're messaging them all day, or they're calling you all day, needing to be basically get pep talks all day about how they shouldn't do this, how they shouldn't do that, and it's after a while you just get tired of it, and eventually it wears down on you, and then that goes back to the whole taking care of you first thing, and you feel bad because they can't help it. I mean, it's a vicious fucking cycle.
Yeah. Yeah, which is why they need to heal on an energetic level in order to like raise their own self-worth and to realize that their time and energy is just as valuable as everyone else's, and that they need to learn how to protect that and pour into themselves, love themselves, so they don't then become these needy people who have to have other people constantly pouring into them in order to see their own worth.
Yep, exactly. I mean, in our life, we're currently dealing with my wife's narcissistic piece of shit baby daddy. And he is literally one of the worst people I ever met in my life. And whether he realizes it or not, because a lot of times they don't realize who they are even.
They have no
But
idea. They're so unaware.
they are. And he needs some energy healing. And by energy, I mean about 5,000 volts of electricity. But that's my personal opinion. But it's just horrible. And to have to deal with the outburst and the fucking lashing out of their cycles is, oh my God, and you can't talk sense into them. You can't talk sense into them. They can't see they're doing anything wrong. They just think that they're perfect, and it's literally just, oh my God, it's horrible.
It is.
And dealing with it for a year now, and I'm ready to freaking but something needs to happen. Come on, universe. Come on. I'm there. I promote you on this show 4 times a week. Come on. I promote you, and that you're a good thing. So help out, brother. Come on. But you kind of gave a good segue into the other side of your abilities, and that's energy healing, which I've had many an energy healer on this show, but they're all different. They all heal differently. So let's break into that a little bit. And so we have this narcissist victim. How do you help them energy heal?
Yeah. So it's through recognizing the ways that they're giving away their power, because a lot of times people don't self-identify as people pleasers. They're just like, no, I'm just a really thoughtful friend. I'm just the one that's going to be there for you at 3 a.m, no matter what. They just consider themselves to be that really thoughtful, kind, considerate person. They don't realize that what they're doing is actually a coping mechanism for some sort of either trauma that they experienced earlier in life, or that they witnessed somebody else experience, or that sometimes it's just somebody who's a really empathic kind of person who's highly sensitive to the energy around them. And so they're always attuning to their environment and seeing like, oh, I can sense that this person is in need somehow, and they're just giving from that place. So these people have no boundaries in essence. So the way I work with them is through helping them recognize these areas in their life where they're overextending themselves. It's in codependency, lack of boundaries, self-sacrifice, not being able to say no ever, overextending themselves. So when they can start to see in real life scenarios these ways in which they're perpetuating these circumstances through their own behaviors, and then they start to confront these behaviors in different ways by having boundaries, by learning how to say no, by learning how to consider, what am I experiencing in this moment? Turning the gaze inward instead of always looking at everybody else and trying to presuppose what everybody else needs. Instead, looking at yourself, what do I need in this moment? And then moving from that position. And when you start to do that, when you start to live from the inside out instead of like from the outside, and then basing your behaviors on what that would determine, it changes everything.
I mean, it truly does. I mean, I was one of those. So actually, I found out in the last year that I'm an empath. I never knew it. I guess I always have been, but I never knew it until a medium told me, like, you are. And I was like, oh, that explains a lot. But because I was one of those empathic people my whole life who got taken advantage of, because I was always trying to shift to the energy of other people and be on their level. Not levels you should go down to, folks. Stay above those levels. Those are the sub levels. You want to stay above ground zero. But I mean, it's just I experienced it and I've seen it over and over and over, and it's just that's why I like doing this podcast about topics like this, because it's, even though it's not as paranormal gets, I mean, it's still, it's the weird things that happen in life that we need to understand why they happen. And it sounds like your podcast is actually the perfect place for anybody going through this type of thing to listen to. It really does. And I recommend it fully, which when we get to the end, folks, she'll tell you where to find it and all about it, so you can go check it out, of course. But so when someone heals on an energetic level, it's basically like when you have a bad cold, which fucking kids give me one now, but when you have a bad cold, it's like when you have a bad cold, and basically it's like when you get better. That day you finally stop sniffling, that day you finally stop sneezing and coughing, you feel like $1,000,000. As someone who's had this done, like, you feel like $1,000,000 the day after you get done with your energy healing, and it fully heals you. Yes, you may need it again a couple days later because it doesn't last long. It usually doesn't last long unless you can learn to practice it yourself and push it forth every day, which time constraints kind of stop me from doing that personally, because I don't have the time to sit there and do that. I wish. My life is a little too rushed. But what is your recommendation to someone if they want to keep it going after a session, if they want to keep themselves feeling good? What can they do themselves?
Yeah, absolutely. So I consider it like energy hygiene. Like, you don't just take a shower once and you're like, oh, I'm good for the rest of my life.
I've
No.
met guys like that.
Energy hygiene is a real thing. Like, it's necessary to keep up with it, to keep your energy clear so that you continue to raise your own vibration. And when I talk about vibration, like, everything is energy. We are energy. This phone is energy. This cup is energy. Matter is these particles spinning at different vibrations. So, and everything has a different amount of density, and the more dense, the lower the vibration. The less dense, the higher the vibration. So when we clear the energetic overload that we're all carrying because of these traumas stored in our body from all of these unprocessed emotional experiences that we've had, it makes us more dense, and then we vibrate at a lower frequency. So in order to help us process all of this energy that we are storing in our body from all of these emotions that we experience every moment of every day, the easiest thing that you can do, that anybody can do, is just allow yourself to feel your emotions as they arise. Just be with your own emotions instead of repressing them, because then they do get stored in your tissues. They get stored in your body. And then over time, that turns into disease and unwellness that oftentimes will, I believe that a lot of, the diseases that our modern society is facing are from diet and also from not processing emotional energy. So be with your feelings, allow yourself to feel them. And that doesn't mean like outwardly expressing them. That means like feeling them in your body. And for some people, that looks like dancing, shaking, movement of some sort. For some people, it's just like sitting and breathing. But being with your own self and acknowledging whatever you're feeling is your own form of energy healing that anybody can do.
Exactly. Fucking exactly. And I mean, everybody in this earth has vibration, guys. Everything has vibrations. The people and animals living close to a nuclear power plant may have a little higher vibrations. Go see a doctor. But everybody has vibrations, and you have to learn to raise it. And like Heather just said, you have to learn to raise the vibration. And I mean, as Marky Mark said, get those good vibrations going. Come on. But it's just one of those things. I mean, you can't just, for some people, going outside and smoking a cigarette is a way to raise your vibration, because it just relaxes you, it raises you up, and makes you go back into the freaking wherever you are, your house, your job, and you go back in, you're like, okay, I can deal with this. Let's go.
Mhm. Yeah.
I mean, it's not the healthiest way to deal with it, but I mean, beggars can't be choosers. As I look at my cigarette pack, but you got to raise your vibration up somehow, and you're right. Energy hygiene is very important. If you just let your emotions take control of you, that's why we have anxiety these days. That's why everybody has depression these days. That's why everybody has some kind of mental illness, at least to some degree. I mean, ADHD, ADD, it's all because we're taught to repress our emotions. It's
Yeah.
something that men have been taught for hundreds and hundreds of years. Oh, you're not hurt. Get up. Go. You're fine. You're fine.
Yeah.
Like, oh, you don't. Boys don't cry. Go walk it off. Like it's no. If your boy wants to cry, let him fucking cry. What's he gonna hurt?
Yeah.
Besides, maybe you're. If you think he's gonna hurt your manliness because of it, then go get checked. Go get checked out because you need some therapy. But I mean, it's just no. I mean, and even women are taught the same thing. They're taught, oh, you shouldn't cry in front of people. Why? What's wrong with that? Let other people know you are feeling something. Oh, God forbid.
Yeah.
No.
You don't want to make
Why?
them feel uncomfortable.
Yeah, let them feel uncomfortable. If they feel uncomfortable, then they have their own demons to work through. So, I mean, it's all about giving in to societal norms and not, you shouldn't be doing that because societal norms have been ruining people for thousands of years. So,
Yeah, turning
let's
us
go.
into robots.
Basically, I mean, hell, we should be reversing our, well, at least that part of life back to freaking ancient Greek when everybody's running around naked and drunk and didn't give a shit what anybody thought of anybody else. Like,
They were free, they were liberated.
in multiple ways. But yes, I mean, I'm down for the naked and drunk part. Let's go. But college all over again. But so I think now actually would be a good time to, because we talked a lot about what bad relationships are between people.
Yeah.
What's a good relationship look like between people? I mean, I know because I'm in one, but I'm in a lot of them. I mean, on different levels. But what does a good relationship look like? Whether it's lovers, friends, anybody, like co-workers, employee, boss, like they all have to have some similarity. What's it look like to you?
Yeah. So speaking from the lens of like human design, which is all about living into your most authentic self-expression, and the more authentically you are, the more safe you feel to be the weirdo that you really are, the more you're going to call into your life the people that align with you, the people that love you for who you really are. And that's kind of the problem with like being this chameleon people pleaser, is that you feel too afraid to show who you really are. You become like everyone to everything, or everything to everyone. So a good relationship is when you feel safe to be who you really are, and you are loved and accepted without conditions. And you get to experience this mutual kind of appreciation for one another, where you don't feel like you have to hide and wear masks. You can just be fully you, and loved for that. That's how I would see a healthy relationship.
I agree, and the mutual appreciation. I actually like that phrasing. That's a good phrase right there. But or I mean, you can just be like I've been for the last 25 years of my life and just not give a fuck. Be yourself, and even if you don't get the mutual appreciation from someone else, just be yourself. And if they don't like you, oh well, you can still be yourself. Guess what? They'll either learn to deal with it, or it wasn't meant to be a relationship you should be around.
The
If the
fact of the
coworker doesn't,
matter is, we're all weirdos, and we in our own way. And so, like, if you
exactly,
accept that, you accept, like, you know what? I am just who I am, and learn to love who you are, then you're going to bring other people into your life who also love who you are. But it starts with your relationship to yourself. Like, if you can come to love and accept who you are, like you said, not give a fuck, then you're going to draw in people who appreciate that.
exactly. It's literally about. honestly, I feel like the key to a happy life is literally just not giving a fuck about what other people think. It's literally the key to a happy life.
Yeah.
Because if you care, the second you start caring what other people think, I mean, yes, I'm not saying don't care what your boss thinks of you, don't care what your parents think of you, because there are certain relationships you want to keep on a certain level and you don't want to ruin them. So maybe not be as weird as you can be in front of your boss or your parents. Who cares? You can be as weird as you want in front of them. But there are certain relationships that we need a power dynamic, so it has to work a certain way. But for everybody else, just be yourself. I mean, I have seen more eye rolls in my direction, and I've seen more shaking heads in my direction in my life than anybody. I don't care. I'm just being me. If you got a problem with it, I'll tell you where to go shove it. Like it's not a problem. It's just, it's the key to a happy life, people. I'm giving you a secret here. Run with it. I mean, I'm not saying go to the middle of the biggest city where you live, close to where you live, and go run through the streets naked. I'm not saying go steal a fire truck, go steal a giraffe from the zoo, or do anything illegal. I'm not. I'm just putting it out there. I don't want to get sued. I'm not endorsing anything illegal. But be yourself. If you want to dress like Captain fucking Kirk at work every day, do it. Whatever. Be the guy from daycare that everybody thought was weird. Who cares? I mean, it's life. And guess what? Eventually, you're not going to see these people anymore. Eventually, you're going to move on. Eventually, something's going to happen. But eventually, we all die. So once you're dead, no one's going to be like, oh, he was weird. There's going to be like, oh, we miss him.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
if you spend too much of your life thinking about what other people think of you, you're not living. What's the
Exactly.
point? What's the
Exactly.
point of being alive if you're not living?
Yeah, I feel like so many of us struggle to find the sense of fulfillment. And it comes from this place of being too afraid to live as you are, to be who you are, and to live from that place, giving yourself permission to do the things you want to do. And so many of us just have this fear of letting other people down. And really, at the end of the day, you're only letting yourself down when you don't allow yourself to just be happy and do what you want.
Exactly. Let your freak flag fucking fly.
Exactly.
And it's and if someone doesn't like it, raise it a little higher even because
Because they need to see it.
they do. And eventually, it's just gonna work out one way or another. So, I mean, it's life. It's life. As a great man once said, "Don't take it too serious. You'll never get out alive."
Yeah, exactly. Like we have it's like a blip that we are here, that we get to experience this life on Earth. And then who knows where the hell we go after this? Another universe, another life form. Like, we don't know because nobody gets out alive to come back and tell us. So,
I mean, there are those that talk to spirits, so we do find out some things.
okay,
But
I'd love to hear some theories because that fascinates me, but I don't know.
I I mean, it depends what you believe in. It really does. Whether it's reincarnation or no or not, or there's nothing, or if you want to have a religious viewpoint for some reason or other, I don't know why you would, but because those are pretty morbid. Religions have pretty morbid viewpoints. What happens after that? But I mean, even if we go to another dimension, I mean, even if we reincarnate as an animal on an alien planet, as another human being, like because we reincarnate as something usually. I mean, from what I've been told, but we're gonna be around this ball again. So yes, you're gonna get another chance to live your life and do it right this time. But guess what? A lot of times people don't break the cycles unless they choose to do it, and you're not just gonna break it because it's a second chance. No, you have to choose to break the cycle.
Yeah.
So
Yeah. Do you feel
I mean,
in this incarnation that you're breaking any cycles?
what was that you cut out for a second at the beginning of that?
I said, do you feel like in this incarnation you're breaking any cycles personally?
I've yet to have a past life reading done. I was supposed to have one done like 2 fucking years ago, and it didn't happen. And I keep putting it off now. But I technically don't really know. But I feel like this life I'm doing something right. So I mean I feel like every day I feel like something's going right usually. So things usually go my way. They always have. Things always work out for me. So it feels like the universe is on my side this time. I don't know if if the universe is on my side or not in the past lives, but this life it seems like the universe is on my side. So maybe I'm doing something right. I don't know.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm sure there are plenty of people we get asked to tell you I'm doing nothing right, but we don't need my mother's opinion on the show. So, and right there is, I swear to God, I'm in a jokey mood tonight. I don't know why, but I'll take it and make sure good episodes. But before we wrap it up for tonight, I do want to give you a little, well, as much time as you want to talk about your podcast. What your podcast is usually about, what it consists of, and just tell my audience why they should listen to it.
Yeah. So my podcast is called the High Vibe Heather Podcast. And in it, I've recently started having guests myself, other spiritually inclined healers, that type of person. And just recently, my most recent podcast episode was with actually another people-pleasing coach. So that was really interesting. She was from Australia. But the whole premise behind the podcast is to give people the opportunity to learn about all of the numerous different modalities there are. There's something for everyone to connect with. So if you don't like human design, or you don't like Reiki, or you don't, whatever, there's like a billion other things that you might like. And it's all about finding the thing that's right for you in order to help you live a better life. So that's what my podcast is all about.
Well, there you go, folks. That's reasons right there you should listen to it, because it can help you find your modality in life and what makes you happy. And I mean, if everybody on this life could just be Stone Cold Steve Austin, flipping people off and then kick them in the stomach. I mean, come on, that's what you should do to people that piss you off. I mean, just basically, I mean, don't go physically kicking people in the stomach and stuttering them, please. I don't need any lawsuits, but spiritually do that. Spiritually, no actual foot raising. Feel free to flip them off, because what the hell are they gonna do about that? I mean, it may get you in a few fights, but it depends on your personality whether or not you can handle that. But it's just the way. If someone doesn't like something you're doing, if someone doesn't like you, tell them to fuck off. I mean, it's just embrace yourself, embrace your freak flag, be happy as who you are.
Yeah.
In the skin you're in, in the spirit you're in. Well, you're not in your spirit. Your spirit's in you, but in the life you're in, just be fucking happy. But
yeah, live your life. Live your life. It's for you.
I mean, that's the great thing about reincarnation, is we all come back and do it again, whether we want to or not. So, well, usually, yeah. Actually, that's debated, because some people say we have choices. Some people say we have no fucking choice, and we're just shoved back in when our tickets pulled in the great DMV in the sky. But everybody loves that metaphor always. I literally just came out. I just came with it out of nowhere one day, and it just stuck. But
well, we can all relate to it, because we're like, oh yeah, you have to pull a ticket and you wait in line and you're just like in limbo forever.
I mean, I'm that fucking guy that goes up there every time and always happens to get ticket 69. What the fuck can I say? Yeah, I feel like I'm that guy. They're like 69. Oh, fuck this guy again. But yeah, and they love me up in the universe. I mean, they really do. Don't you guys? Come on.
What a blessed life you have.
It has its moments, but it's blessed. It's blessed. I just have to sometimes get away from the stuff that is not so blessed and remember why it's blessed every other way. So, and kids are a great reminder of that, and life's a good reminder of that. Basically, just seeing your family, seeing your loved ones is stuff like that is a reminder of how we're blessed, and being able to do things we like is a reminder of how we're blessed. If you can go put on a horror movie and watch somebody getting slashed up, if that's how you feel blessed, that's how you feel blessed. That's why I say, because I don't know, horror movies and me have a thing, but It's a lot of people do it better, obviously, because horror movies are one of the biggest genres movies out there for fans. So,
Woof.
I mean,
Can't do it. I
eh,
can't do it.
I couldn't for years, and then one day it just clicked. Like, why am I not watching these? Like, what am I scared of? Why am I not watching these? And then, bam! Now I see more horror movies than most people have. So, well,
So fun.
than most. But yeah, I mean,
I finally saw The Shining, and I was like, "Oh, that's not even that scary." What?
it's not. I mean, I
I
think
mean, Jack
when we're
Nicholson's
children,
face.
yeah. Uh,
There's some scenes.
the only thing scary about The Shining is what the hell did they put in her cigarette to make the ash go so long? That's the only thing that's scary. Oh, gee, a story about a dad going crazy because his kids in white drive him crazy. I can relate.
Yeah.
But I can relate to that somehow. But I mean, it's not scary. I mean, it's Stephen King. The book is very well written. The movie, not so much. The book is very well written, but it's not one of his scarier. It was basically him putting himself into a book almost in a way, and it's kind of funny that way. But I will say it's not. I mean, trust me, there are horror movies out there that will scare the shit out of some people, but I think it's when we're children we just get the idea that we get told that these movies are scary. Just like everything else in life, we get told something and we put our false impressions on it. And I didn't watch horror movies for the first 3 decades of my life because I was told they were scary because I was scared out of watching them basically. And religion has something to do with that too, but fuck religion. But now the last few years I've been making up for lost time and watching a lot of horror movies because they bring me joy. I mean, a lot of them suck big fat donkey balls because they're horribly made. A lot of them because there's so many of them. There's always going to be the B and C and D ones, but the ones that are A's and even some of the B's are pretty fucking entertaining and fun to watch. So, and good storylines. So, and especially in the paranormal world, there's a lot of topics in there that relate. So, if you're into the paranormal, you're usually into horror movies too because it's relatable topics. So, it's all about the universe's plan and why the universe wants these things to exist. I can't explain shit, but I'm not meant to. I'm not meant to. I just enjoy what I can out of what it gives me. Now, if you want to give me about $5 million, will be really good, universe. Just saying, manifest that money, manifest that money. But oh yeah, and manifestation. I mean, that's also a huge part of life, if you ask me. I
Oh,
preach it all the time. I preach it on this show all the freaking time. You should be manifesting every day what you want to happen. Because guess what? It may not always happen, but enough times it will.
yeah.
I've had,
The power of
I've,
the mind.
yep, the mind's a powerful thing, and I can tell you, if you keep telling yourself in court, in life, in wherever situations you're in, that it's going to work out the way you want it to, eventually it's going to.
It really will. It really will. You get to write your own story. You get to decide how a lot of things will go just by your own attitudes and beliefs.
I mean, you could do the same thing through many other ways as well. You can write your own life by violence, by cheating, and all that stuff too. But then you got to deal with consequences and a guy named Bubba who wants to do things to you. So no, you just got manifestation is the healthiest, best way to do things. Just all it is wishing and hoping. That's all it is. Like you're a child again. You're wishing and hoping for what you want.
Yeah, it's
And
beautiful. Why not? Why not live with rose-colored glasses? Like, why not?
as long as they're heart-shaped glasses, like Marilyn Manson said, then yes, okay, I'll take the rose. But but I want to thank you for coming on, Heather, because this has been a fucking episode. I can't believe it's been an hour already. I freaking every time I look at the clock, I'm like, another 20 minutes, Jesus.
Yeah.
Like, it's good conversations fly by, and it's amazing. But that's why we're here, and it was a good show. So I hope you all enjoyed it if you got to this point, and I hope you learned from it. I really do. And go check out Heather's show to learn some more. I mean, I know you're gonna come back here hopefully, but I mean, go check out Heather's show too. You know, I always boost my guest podcast because that's the way it should be. I'm here to help other people get big. That's what I do, or try to, I should say. But I got fucking diarrhea of the mouth tonight, so I'll shut myself up. Heather, where can people find you if they want to reach out for your services, for your podcast? Where can they find it all?
Yeah, I keep it pretty simple. My handle on Instagram is at hi.vibe.heather. My website is highvibeheather.com. You know, my podcast is highvibeheather. So it's pretty easy. If you want to find me, just Google High Vibe Heather. And thanks so much for having me. It was fun talking to you and learning about your life and what you consider paranormal. And I love that energy healing is part of that.
Yeah, the spiritual side of paranormal is one of the biggest sides these days, honestly. More and more people, there's more people that want to talk about that side of paranormal than the side with the creepy cryptids and aliens and all that good stuff.
I'm sure
So,
that's fun too. I just don't know that much about it.
the two rarely intersect. When they do, it's a glorious day, but they rarely intersect, and I get enough of both. I enjoy every episode I do. So there's very few. I can't think of one guest I didn't enjoy having on. So it's just, and of course, folks, Heather's podcast will be in the description for all you listeners, just so you can click and go if you so please, and please do. But you all know where you can find me. If you don't, well, shit. Why am I in here then? 200+ episodes, you still know where to find me. Fuck. But check the outro. It's there. Yeah, as always, it's there. And remember, it's high.vibe. If you do the high-5, Heather, that's going to be the weed dealer, not the podcast. Just saying. But I joke. If that's a real thing out there on Instagram or something, I will laugh my ass off, but I joke. I really will. If that's a real thing, that's funny. But
well, I am in Portland, so there's no weed around here.
There's no shortage of weed anywhere in the United States anymore. It's legal everywhere, thank God. But, well, not everywhere yet, but it's getting there. Something I didn't see happening 15 years ago. So, it's incredible. But I will see you all, I believe, tomorrow for another interview. And maybe one Sunday evening. And I think I actually have a special for you Sunday morning. So, y'all welcome for all you who watch this in replay. But have a good night, everybody. Your faithful host needs his beauty sleep. Yes, it's beauty sleep. Shut up. See you next time.